Getting a little ahead of ourselves. I must be hungry. We're talking about recipes first. That's the end part of the book.
Yeah, right.
Let's talk about some of the bulk of the book. And I like how you kind of talk about the different variants of a carnivore diet. I like to tell people that I just really don't want to get too worked up in trying to define this is carnivore this exact way. So if we use the definition of hypercarnivore in nature, we say that an animal that eats 70 to 75% or greater of their calories from animal products, we can kind of leave it at that. And we don't have to get into fights about whether somebody has coffee or not, if somebody uses seasonings and spices or not. You know what I mean? Like it gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah, oh, 100%. And this is the stuff that we deal with on a daily basis, on YouTube and things like that. People are always, always, always arguing about this. And I talk about all of these things in depth in the book. I think what's most important is just figuring out what works best for your body. There's some people that will need to do like the lion diet with it's just ruminants, salt, and water for healing. But I don't think everybody needs to do that. I think most people could start with all meat, all seafood, eggs, and butter, perhaps a little bit of dairy thrown in. I like to start without the liquid dairy and the cheese just because that can cause some issues for some people. But start there and then do that for 30 to 90 days, and then you can make some more tweaks. Not everybody's coming to carnivore to heal a serious metabolic illness or for sugar addiction or things like that. Some people are literally just coming to carnivore to lose weight. That's what I was coming for. I can do spices. I can tolerate them. I can do Primal Kitchen buffalo sauce with my chicken wings. It's not a big deal. But I think when the carnivore police come in and start being like, blah, there's only one right way, blah, it turns people off. And my whole goal is to get as many people on this planet metabolically healthy as humanly possible. And if it's somebody needs to continue drinking Diet Coke and using barbecue sauce, but everything else they've improved, I consider that a win. Incremental progress, not perfection. So that's kind of I talk about all those things in the book just because those are questions we get all the time. Can you use seasonings? What sauces can I use? Do I have to do it this way, or are there other ways? Like, do I use dairy or not? Can I drink coffee? That's a huge one for people. There's people that could never imagine not drinking coffee, and you can do carnivore and drink coffee. It's just fine. There's some people that will be, trying to, crucify you for that, but tons of people do carnivore and drink coffee. So that we talk about all that.
Yep. I love that. You gave an amazing presentation at the COSI 2025
Thank you.
conference. I really enjoyed it. One of my other standout presentations that was there was Amy Berger making a presentation in a very Amy Berger way, basically saying like, this is for your benefit. If this makes your life worse and more miserable and you have to, track ketones 3 times a day and like you're trying to chase all these numbers and everything, that is not the point. This is supposed to be great for you. This is supposed to improve your life, not be another thing. So along those lines, I'm really glad you approached in that way because I could not agree more.
Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos that really likes to track data, as evidenced through my channel, but there's a lot of people that's overwhelming for them. The carnivore is meant to simplify your life, and man does it, because you only have to eat once or twice a day. You don't really have to think about food. I had a bowl of ground beef for breakfast this morning, and it was fantastic. But
Sounds good.
one ingredient, so simple.
Very, very simple. You also write about the mindset and preparation for a carnivore diet. I think this really highly depends on where somebody is transitioning from. Luckily, the pattern that I notice is fairly consistent with most people, where it's like standard American diet. That's not working. Maybe try vegan, vegetarian. That certainly doesn't work long term. Then maybe paleo. Then maybe keto, and on until somebody progresses to carnivore, and then maybe they can open things up and get a little bit more inclusive of other plant foods. But how do you help people get ready as far as like the mindset and preparation for executing a carnivore diet?
Yeah, so the very first thing you have to figure out is your why. Why are you doing carnivore in the first place? And I do think like for people that are coming just to lose weight, try to figure out another thing that's not just losing weight, because that's not enough for most people. Like, do you have a metabolic health condition you're trying to heal? Do you want to see your grandchildren be born? Like for me, I'm 41. I would like to see my grandchildren someday. My kids are only 4. And a lot of people that are, in their golden years, just getting up and down off the floor to play with their grandkids without having pain or even being able to do that can be a really good why. bucket list items, like maybe you want to sail around the world or you want to climb Mount Everest, whatever it is. Just make a list, 2 to 3 things of why you're doing carnivore in the first place, and put them on like a post-it or on your fridge or somewhere that you can see it every day, because you really need to have that reminder. Why am I actually doing this? Why am I, eating this crazy diet? After that, it's really just kind of making up your mind 100% that this is what you're going to do. And you don't have to commit for a long period of time. Don't say for the rest of my life. No one knows the answer to that. Do 30 days. This is what I'm going to do for the next 30 days. And you just keep reaffirming that to yourself every single day. Because mindset and making up your mind is like half the battle, honestly. Once you are like laser focused in on it, man, you can do pretty much anything you put your mind to. So I think that's really important. After that, it's just kind of preparing your house for it. You got to clear out all that non-carnivore food. You don't have to necessarily throw it away, but like get it out of the house, put it in the garage, give it to a friend to hold on to. Just temptations will come calling, and you don't want to have it right there in your shelf. But then you also need to go grocery shopping. You need to replace all of that stuff that you threw away with carnivore foods. And I also think you should do a little bit of meal prep, because your hunger cues are going to be so wild in the beginning. Like you won't be hungry, and then all of a sudden you'll just be like, oh, give me everything. So I like to do some like hard-boiled eggs, cook a few steaks and maybe chop them up so you just have something to munch on. A pot roast is so simple to do ahead of time. Just have some food that's already prepared. And then I also always say, make sure you have some electrolytes on hand. Whatever brand you use is fine. You can also make your own. Just make sure it doesn't have sugar in it. And I like to just start with just the minerals first, no sweeteners or flavors or things like that. But definitely make sure you have something on hand, because if you're coming from a higher carb way of eating, keto flu is real and you need to prepare for it. It can make your life pretty miserable in the beginning, and it does stop people, especially like from continuing, especially if they don't know what it is or that it's going to happen. So those are like the biggest housekeeping things, I think, in the beginning.
That's all really, really good advice. My stupid slip up these days, it's so dumb, is like cashews. I'm buying like really salted cashews, and I think in my head I'll just have a little. And of course, you can't have a little if you're coming to carnivore because of those sugar addictions, like you said. And I've mentioned this before, but I found my point where I need to have those blinders up, like you said, is at the store. If I just walk by them at the store and I don't have that self-talk with myself, well, maybe I can have a little, whatever, I can just walk on by, and then I don't have them, and then I don't even think about them. It's only when I think, well, maybe I can toy with this, and then I end up buying them, and then they're gone in 3 days. My digestion sucks, and like it's crazy. So I think that's all really, really, really good advice. And of course, like being prepared for the keto flu, you're an expert in that since you went through it yourself, and so having being able to avoid that is definitely helpful.
Yeah, keto flu is real, man. 6 weeks for me. It was really, really bad. But that, again, that was oxalate dumping too. But the electrolytes were vital. They didn't make me feel like $100 again, but like I felt well enough to take care of my small babies. And that was important.
Yep, got it. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is I I love this part of the book. This is one of my favorite parts. You talk about carnivore myths, and you do it in kind of like two separate ways, which I absolutely love. And the first way is people that are outsiders hearing about carnivore for the first time. Your reaction is a great idea. I'm going to paraphrase something one of our past guests said. It was basically like, if you're hearing about a carnivore the first time and you didn't have the same kind of reaction that you did, I'm a little bit concerned about you, actually, because you should think, oh, how are you going to get vitamins and minerals? Don't I need fiber? Don't I need fruits and vegetables? So what are some of the common myths that people from outside the carnivore diet think they're going to miss out on or going to suffer with? And then I'm going to ask you part two of the question, which is the myths kind of inside the carnivore community, which I love that you went there.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So the vitamins and minerals one, I think, is one of the number ones. Just like, how am I going to get all of the vitamins and minerals I need only eating meat? Because we have been told for decades that we're getting all of our vitamins and minerals from fruits and vegetables, that is like where you're getting everything important. You have to have so much on your plate, blah, 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 which is actually not true. Plants are only as good as the soil in which they're grown, and our soil has been decimated over the past few decades just from monoculturing and all that kind of stuff. You also have to think of pesticides. Everything is just drowned in pesticides. Even organic fruits and vegetables have some pesticides on them. They use organic pesticides, or they're right next door to a regular farm. And organic farmers cannot control the wind. So some of that it will inevitably get on there too. And then you also have bioavailability. So our human bodies are meant to process animal proteins and fats. That's the most bioavailable. So maybe a few little key nutrients. I wouldn't even say key, is little nutrients here and there from plants that you can get, but you can get all of that stuff from animal-based products better. Your body breaks it down and can actually use it. So that's just a bunch of malarkey and misinformation that's been out there that so many people believe. The whole fiber thing goes hand in hand. Fiber is pushed as like you have to have 25 grams per day for digestion and blah. And there's plenty of people out there that fiber makes their digestion worse. I know for me it does. And that kind of goes back to the whole like macronutrient thing. Fats, proteins, and carbohydrates are the three macronutrients, but the only two that are required are protein and fat. We do not need to eat carbohydrates for survival. We can eat them, we are able to, but do we need to? No, we do not. So then why would it follow that we need fiber when fiber is carbohydrate? It just doesn't make logical sense. So that's another one. I think the other really big one that people think of when they come to carnivore that's a huge myth is the whole LDL cholesterol myth. That high LDL cholesterol causes heart disease and that carnivore raises your LDL cholesterol, which isn't necessarily true. It is true for some people, especially lean mass hyperresponders. We were talking about Dave and Nick and Adrian's research, but not everybody sees that. A lot of people see their LDL cholesterol go down on a carnivore diet or even stay the same. It's not across the board. And then there's just so much misinformation about what LDL cholesterol, well, really LDL, HDL, it's the same cholesterol within both. What cholesterol is actually doing in our body. It's a vital nutrient. Our body actually makes it. If you don't have enough, you will die. So that's another huge myth out there that is still being perpetuated to this day that is just not correct.